Salutations everyone. It can be pretty difficult getting into Smash without knowing the terminology behind it. Since there was no such video when I was getting into Smash, I decided to make this as a guide to all beginners. The following terms are the most often used in Super Smash Bros. Videos, live streams, and tournaments, from the most basic of terms to the newest ones there are. Smash attacks. Very basic. Pressing the attack button and the desired direction of your attack at the same time to execute a smash attack. Hold them to charge your attack for more power. The attack will automatically execute once it's reached its max charge. Your C-stick will also unleash smash attacks. Tilts. Tilting your analog stick in the desired direction of the attack, then pressing the attack button. Jabs. Your basic attack with the A button. Most jabs go into different attack stages as the button is repeatedly hit, usually with a finisher attack that knocks back your opponent. Nairs, Dairs, Fairs are just shorthanded for air attacks with the corresponding direction prefixed to it. Nair means neutral air. Fair, or F-air, means forward air. Dair, or D-air, means down air, and so on. These prefixes can be used with other moves preceding them as well, such as smash, specials, or tilts. Zair is a move for characters that have an aerial tether, like both Samus's and Link's. Zairs do damage to your opponent and can be used to grab ledges. Short hopping. Lightly pressing the jump button for a shorter jump than the full jump possible. These are used to set up aerials lower to the ground or dodging attacks. Teching. Shielding just before you land to make sure your character gets up faster. Holding left or right will make your character roll out of this animation. This can also be used after hitting walls. Gimping. A very low percent KO. A move that can get the opponent killed when used correctly without needing the opponent at a high percentile, such as Mario's cape. Fast falling. Pressing down at the apex of your jump to fall faster than normal. This, when pulled off correctly, will result in a single sparkle from the sprite of your character. Edgeguarding. Any attempt to prevent the opponent from returning to the stage, thus guarding them from reaching the edge. Planking. Repeatedly grabbing the edge of the stage to maintain invulnerability and waiting for the right time to step back onto the stage. Note, this is not present in Smash 4. Trumping. Edgehogging is out of the game now that you can steal the edge from your opponent. Trumping is the act of stealing the ledge from the opponent and sending them in a diagonal upward direction regardless of whether or not they still have invincibility frames. DI stands for Directional Input and is the act of influencing the direction your character moves. By holding the analog stick in a perpendicular direction after being attacked allows the player to influence their initial flight trajectory. This, however, has been removed from Smash 4 with the institution of vectoring, but you still might hear people use this phrase often, interchangeably with vectoring. Vectoring is the ability to influence what direction you're headed in while you're in hit stun flying through the air by adding a vector of movement to your current one. While DI change the angle of movement, vectoring is applying one vector to another, meaning you want to hold the analog stick in exactly the opposite direction from the angle you were launched to fight against the vector of your launch instead of applying the analog stick perpendicular to your momentum, as you want to fight against the momentum from the opposite angle it was applied. Spacing. The careful positioning of your attacks or movements in a way to apply pressure to your opponent while staying safe. Zoning. Similar to spacing, zoning is the input of attacks to restrict your opponent's options of movement, often by use of projectiles or attacks that are away from the attacking character. Pressuring. A character's attack that is safe and puts them advantageously on the offensive and the opponents to be defensive. Neutral game. An attribute of a character that will give them an advantage when both characters are in the neutral state, when neither has an advantage. A good neutral game will consist of safe attacks or pokes that will help them dictate the sequence of the fight by having advantage in percentage and or stage control. Chain grabbing, a combo that involves multiple grabs and throws in a row. Hitbox, the space around an attack or character where the game registers contact. Disjointed hitbox, if an attack's hitbox extends away from the character's sprite hitbox, it is said to be disjointed. Disjointed attacks have high priority. Priority: an attack's ability to override another attack in a collision. Trading: when two attacks equally cancel each other out. Push box: the space around an attack or character which will push your enemies away, such as Mario's Flood or Greninja's up special. Juggling: a series of attacks that prevents the opponent from landing back on the stage. Dash dance: during a character's dance animation, one can dash in the opposite direction immediately without skidding. Dash dancing is the repeating of this over and over back and forth, and is used as a spacing tool, although is not as useful in Smash 4 as in the past. Foxtrotting: the continual repetition of the initial dash animation. Pivoting: during a dash, there is a single frame in between dashes where the character is in a neutral stance. Inputting attacks on this frame is called pivoting. Staling, or stale move negation: a mechanism in the game where during the same life, using the same attack over and over will lessen the damage and knockback. This is to discourage spamming. Recovery: a character's ability to return to the stage after being knocked off, most aptly attributed to the character's jumps, usually up special as well, and sometimes other moves that influence player movement horizontally or vertically. Super armor: an attribute given to certain moves that gives them knockback resistance. This will manifest itself in the character not being launched or flinching during certain frames of certain attacks, but they will still take damage. Such moves with super armor are Charizard's Rock Smash, Donkey Kong's Super Punch when fully charged, or most of Little Mac's moves. Some attacks have finite amounts of super armor, such as Kirby's down special. Rage mechanic: the process in the game which deals more knockback the higher percentile your character is at. Shield grabbing: pressing A to grab while shielding. This will result in less damage than a normal grab, but is very useful. Perfect shielding: shielding at precisely the moment an attack is about to hit you. That will result in no shield damage or block stun. Spot dodging: shielding, then pressing down on the analog stick while coming out of a shield gives you invincibility frames. Spike: any attack with downwards knockback. Meteoring means the same thing, but meteoring can be cancelled with a jump or up B recovery move. Sweet spot: the strongest part of an attack. Also, to sweet spot the ledge means grabbing the edge in the safest possible manner, usually snapping to it or grabbing it at the lowest possible spot. Reads: the ability of one player to predict their enemy's movements and setting themselves up for favorable position of attack or punish. Punish: like in any fighting game, punishing is the act of one player taking advantage of an opponent's move that leaves them vulnerable for a period of time. Any attacks that have slow startup or ending lag are most easily punishable, as well as any other state that leaves a player open to an easy attack. True combo: a combo that when executed correctly always works and your opponent cannot escape. RAR stands for Reverse Aerial Rush, which means to start a run, tap the analog stick in the opposite direction, jump, then press the direction you originally dashed in, usually followed up with an attack. Turn cancelling or pivot cancelling: performed the same way as a RAR, but with a forward tilt instead of a jump. ADAs, or air dodge aerials: this technique takes advantage of the increased air dodge speed to be used as an approach option with characters with fast aerials, such as Mario. It will allow the invincibility frames in the dodge and immediately come out with a fast aerial, which can be used to set up combos. Jab lock combo: a combo where you can hit your opponent up to 3 times with a certain attack, forcing an on-spot get-up. Footstool: when characters are directly above another character, they can press the jump button to bounce off the opposing character's head. When used on a grounded opponent, it briefly freezes the opponent while they are in the animation of the player bouncing off their head. When used on an opponent in mid-air, it causes the opponent to tumble a set distance. It does no damage and can be used 2 to 6 times in succession. There are a few others, but these are the most common terms you'll hear in Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U and 3DS. Some new mechanics and ATs, or advanced techniques, are sure to be discovered in the future, and with patches to the game, many things are sure to change. There are many other terms that are only present in older Smash games, such as wave dashing, so they have no significance in Smash 4. If you have any questions or other terms you would like defined, ask below in the comments, or go visit the Smash Wiki. A link will be provided in the description. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more Super Smash Bros. Videos.